Okay, anyhow, yeah, I figured I would jump on up here today and have a little chat with nobody. Okay, somebody comes along, that's fine. Otherwise, I'll have a chat with nobody and leave it up. Somebody will see it. I won't care one way or the other. But you noticed what I got up here? Money. That's right, gold. Man-made construct. Always was, always will be. But without money, without working to make money, I suppose you can't have a roof over your head, you can't have food, you can't have clothing on your body, you can't have water, you can't have utilities, you can't have anything you got. That's right. And I suppose it's because, well, us the people worldwide have accepted and placed a value on this stuff ourselves. This stuff is meaningless and it's worthless. It really is. It's worth nothing. Will what you're looking at keep you alive in a time when there is none? No. I want to see you eat it. I want to see you drink it. I want to see you survive on it. You won't. And if resources was suddenly gone and you couldn't keep your hands on it, I don't care how much of this you have. When it comes to food and water, you can't live without it. You fail to live, your body dies. But somehow this outweighs that, doesn't it? Well, that's because they've set you into the matrix. They've set a system up that entrapped you and enslaved you. You know, money's got the name of the root of all evil for a reason. And most people, they're just beyond them. You know, they didn't start off any of their research with anything. Most of the people out here that in the manosphere don't even do research. Okay, so therefore they didn't look into nothing to begin with. They just automatically assume they already know it when they don't. They don't understand that money is a man made construct from day one. The first bank that was ever opened made its profits off of charging interest to store somebody's gold and silver in their vault, and then loaned out what wasn't theirs and charged that same amount back plus that much more in interest, and loaned out something that wasn't theirs. That's like me loaning out your car and renting it out. When they return your car to you, I get paid, not you. Now you see how ridiculous that is? But we accepted it. That's right. Then we socially engineered a society into existence that has a hierarchy. And being successful in society is weighed on a man made construct. And if I was just to keep going on and on with everything I do know, to be factual, you would realize real quick why this very thing you're looking at will also be what will get you dead. In the end, this will be what collapses your countries. This will be what's causing you to starve to death when there is nothing to be gotten. The food's gone. You can't get fresh water to drink. When times get really bad, which they're going to, because it's been being engineered to happen that way, as we go through another repeat of history, that's what you're looking at. As we go through another repeat of history, you all turn your back and act like you're not because you're unable to see what's playing in your face because you don't want to see it. Maybe it's because you're scared. Most likely it is because you're scared. Because to see it and acknowledge it means you might have to take responsibility to try to stop it. And the thought of dying scares the hell out of you. And the thought of standing up and having to fight back means there's a possibility you could die And so therefore you don't want anything to do with it. So therefore you'll die anyhow. See, because they want a whole lot of people dead. Oh yeah. And everybody's gonna die one day anyhow. If you would just get into reality, you'd realize that we all die. Well, at least your vessel dies. But the reality is money is the root of all evil. Money is what's financed all evil. Money is the reason that everything's happening to you. It's the reason they gave you an invisible bug. Yep, it's the reason you have to work your butt off and you have to be lower than somebody else on the totem pole. There's a reason for it. No, it's not because you're a loser. It's not because they're better than you. It's not because they're smarter than you. No, never has been, never will be. It's because of evil. Evil. Straight out evil. That's what it's because of. See, when you have the loss of character, you create a society that's based on a construct, that's based on a hierarchy. Then we introduce what we call entertainment to you, called TV set and Hollywood. And we use that to change the perceptions into what we want them to be. We introduce sports to you and give you an arena so that we can make you competitive against each other, and we move it out of the arena that we saw once again sold to you as entertainment. We move it out of the arena into the workplace and into the dating arena and into everything in life. Now we're all competing against each other for everything, including competing against each other for a female. You know, let's see, what else do we do? That's right, we give everything a name. We got all these sophisticated names, and we make all these names up, we make all these categories up. We pull them right out of Reno and we write them on a sheet, and we make up these categories and names and labels, and we place people in these categories and label, and then we make one or two of these categories very popular, and we make a couple more like only scum or low life or losers would be. That's right. And then you don't have any say so to what category you're going to be put in. Society will look at you in 1 to 5 seconds and look at your income, and look at your background and where you came from, and say, okay, that's the category you go in, and they'll place you there and you won't have no say so. We have divided everybody on race, gender, religion. That's right, we've divided you in the workplace. Who's going to be the one that moves up? Who's going to be the one that's left down? See, your invisible enemy that's been here since, well, before 2020, since I took it back 31 years. No lie. I was able to back up the invisible enemy being planned 31 years ago. I literally went that far back with it. Yep, totally planned. It's been planned. They wanted to pull it off, and they wanted to pull it off 10, 11 years ago, but they couldn't get it done, so they waited and they started pushing for 21. I wonder what that'd be. Oh, that's right. United Nations told you all about it. They planned it, put it together, got it all on documentation, left it there for the public to see. Most people won't go look. Most people won't compare what's been going on around the world, and including in their own country, to what was wrote in Agenda 21, will they? No, they won't. Because it scares the hell out of them. See, fear holding you back again. Or because you're worried about, making more of that right there. Because after all, that's more important. Now let's get real. The so-called elite are nothing more than banksters, bankers. I like to call them gangsters, bankers. That's your elite. They own the monetary systems. They're the ones that print the money that you all working for. They're the ones that made all these plans and implemented and paid all these different agencies and corporations and your media, your military, your everything. And they're the ones that paid for the think tanks to make up the programs for them. They are the elite. They are the psychopaths. They are the ones behind all of this. This is the reason money's called the root of all evil. And there's only one way you can overturn it. TFL is created directly through social engineering, through conditioning people for their one world government, new world order, and the fourth industrial revolution. What they're doing now is scaring the hell out of you and giving you your new norm, conditioning you, and coating and killing you. And by the way, you're so hooked on their tool that they're using to do this to you with that you'll mindlessly keep working for it so that they can do it to you. See, there's only one way to stop all of this. You have to go after the source, the root cause. See, accountability needs to be put in place, and you need to start at the very, very top, and that's not at your government's level, no. You got to start with your 13 families of bankers, and then you got to work your way out to all of the people they paid and major physicians and players that's brought in these programs that has destroyed our society, that has caused TFL, that has divided the genders, that has divided the races. And all of these people who've been involved in the think tanks taking the tool to create what's happening to you right now all need to be held accountable. I suggest we build a couple good sized prisons or we close down a bunch of them and we use a couple of them things to house all these individuals for the rest of their life. I suggest you take back the monetary systems worldwide from the people who has it and you give it back to the people. I suggest that we turn around and we make society fair for everybody. And we do away with the hierarchy completely. Demolish the hierarchy completely. And give everybody back their life. But give them a good life. Give everybody a good life that's willing to anticipate in creating the products and the food and the things that we need. Don't have a hierarchy. Don't pay other people more than you get paid yourself. Don't base it on your skill levels. You say, well, the doctor's not going to do that for this much, or the engineer's not going to do it for the price of a dishwasher. Well, then I guess you don't need to have a good life. No. Because, see, if you were fair to everybody, everybody could have a good life. Everybody could make enough money that they would live comfortably. Never be broke, never be hungry. If they needed a new vehicle, they'd have the money to go get it. Oh, yeah, I mean, I have all kinds of things that should be that isn't. And you know how much division you do away just on that alone? You know, the only reason human beings don't get along is because you've been so brainwashed into not being able to get along. You know the reason most people in the manosphere are out here and can't even get someone in their life? It's because of both genders, and you know why that's happening? Because they took all of your skills away from you. Now, let me tell you what I mean by all of your skills away from you through social engineering. You don't have the skills to know how to get along, to socialize together and make friends. You don't have the skills to keep friends because you fight over somebody's opinion. That's right. You don't have the skills because you're competing against each other on top of it all, when you should never be competing against each other. And because of the loss of care and selfishness and striving to have more of that than somebody else, you're walking all over the top of each other all the time. See, I could go on and on and on with this here spill, but this here's factual truth. This is factual truth, and you can't even get out of it if you try. It's so in your face. Money is worthless. When there's a food shortage and you can't get food and you can't get water and you ain't got shelter and it's in massive scale, there ain't nobody going to take any of that to give you their last of their food or their water. See, you don't survive without the real gold. The real gold is shelter, food, and water. That is real money. That is real gold. But you don't think the banks just don't know that? Why do you think they've been buying up all the resources worldwide? Why do you think they've been taking ownership of all resources? Oh, you don't believe they have? Well, that's because you haven't looked outside of what? When's the last time you looked into anything? Oh, next to never. Of course they have. They've done it right under your nose. Well, not under mine, just under the majority of the people in the manosphere and the majority of people walking around in society with a diaper on their face who just drink the Kool-Aid and mindlessly believe that it'll go away if I just ignore it. You know, it's like these so-called truthers that seem to think that if you're awake, you wouldn't watch David Icke. That's right. If you was awake, you wouldn't watch David Icke or you wouldn't watch Mark Passio because if you have to watch them, you're not awake. Because they're agents. They're working for the establishment. And you wouldn't watch them. You would think with your own brain and do your own research. Now, I'm going to say this about that. If you're just now waking up and you're not awake at all, Alex Jones was responsible for waking a lot of people up that actually became more awake and realized who Alex Jones was and don't follow Alex at all and started doing their own homework. No, there is not. What timing? Anyhow. So, you think about it for what it really is. You have to be willing to compare information that you see to society and see what's really going on. You have to be open-minded to pay attention to what's going on around you. You have to be open-minded enough to go on actual real websites like the United Nations and your government and your health department and NASA. Okay, you need to go on these websites and you need to be browsing these websites. You need to be browsing Congress's websites, your puppet pretend government's websites, because these banksters control the governments worldwide. Oh, we're getting desperate here. No, you ain't. You can try another number all you want. Ain't happening. Anyhow. So, no, I mean, the reality is simple. It's very simple. Money is the reason where we're at, and money is a man-made construct. Money, gold, silver, diamonds, jewelry, it's worthless. Its only value comes from us, the human beings, placing a value in our own mind on that. But now food and water and shelter, if you call that worthless, I guess, what they die from? Oh, yeah, that's why they're dead, yeah. But if you allow the banks to own it all, which they are, now they can decide who eats and who don't, who gets clean water to drink and who don't. Yeah, they get to play God. And why did they get to play God? Well, because they took ownership of something that the entire world's using to live on. And they're using that ownership for evil means. Evil means. You think, well, it's all right if I go along, they won't hurt me. and you ignore what they've been telling everybody and telling everybody, no, you're still going to get dead. Yep. But you'll mostly be dying from being cowards and being too scared to look into anything and too scared to stand up. You'll mostly be dying because you attacked your messenger, the people who were trying to warn you. Yeah, you'll basically be dying from being too dumb to be alive. That's what I call cowards, okay? To realize that if you're going to die, if you don't fight back, what have you got to lose fighting back? Nothing. To realize the real truth that they are dead serious about killing a whole bunch of us off in massive numbers and repeating history again, and then that's what happens, ain't it? History keeps replaying itself over and over and over. If you ever learned anything in your life, you would know that. But you know, I suppose it's easier if you worry about the dating scene, worry about blaming women, worry about blaming men, worry about blaming the white people, worry about blaming the black people, worry about blaming the Jews, worry about blaming the Christians, worry about blaming the whoever and the next ever and the next ever. Keep pointing your fingers at all the victims and blame the victims. And then the messenger comes along, oh, you cause, you tell them they're at fault for it. You don't look into a thing, you just pull cop-outs out and run. Yep. Oh, Yeller's real, man. Oh, Yeller went viral. That's what I see going on. I mean, where's law enforcement? Let's look at the reality. Where's your justice system worldwide? Where's your prosecutors who are supposed to know your man-made rules worldwide? Why is it I can investigate and go back 31 years and I can bring videos of somebody like Anthony Fauci up 4 years before this all took place? And I can show you him on video, him himself telling you, and I can bring up another senator up there, Tom Cruise. He's got a really weird name, but anyhow, I got the video. And I can show you him saying the same, telling you all about it. 2 years before, Anthony Fauci 4 years before. I can show you a music song from 2013 where literally one verse of the song was the name of what came in 2020 with the last number, 19, for the year 2020. How convenient that was that song would have that verse in it telling you that information in 2013. I told you I can go back to 2012 and show you them showing you the symbol that they're calling, what they're calling that name. Yeah. I can show you a paper trail of the PCR test they're using to test for that name. The test being built, actually manufactured and shipped in 2018. Oh my God, 2 years before again. Oh. And then you're running out there. What are you doing? You're running out there and letting them stick a pointed thing inside your body and shoot some stuff that you don't even know what it is inside your body. And drinking the Kool-Aid, believing the lie, the plan. Mm-hmm. And you expect good results from that. Unbelievable. You know, if you needed them things that you're sticking in people's bodies in order to survive, then we wouldn't be here right now. Because we went for hundreds of years without them things even existing. And we're still here. Talk about a snake oil salesman. There you go, by golly. And you all just listened to the snake and went right on down there. Snake oil salesman pulled the blanket over their eyes. That's right. It's pretty sad, isn't it? When you really think about it and you pay attention to what's going on and how people are acting and behaving, and you really pay attention, you understand why people behave the way they do. They have no compass of what life used to be. They have no critical thinking skills to process anything that's correct and right. What they have is the loss of care, selfishness, all about themselves, and mirages, illusions that they got to be above somebody else, better than somebody else. All they have is all the tools that's been, well, taught to you, brainwashed into you your whole life. Most people are so upset when I tell you you've been lied to your entire life. The majority of everything you ever learned when you were growing up as a child was a lie. No lie, that's fact. The majority of everything you ever learned was a lie. Because you're not supposed to have an education. You're supposed to have only the knowledge that the banksters decided you're allowed to have, which is right next to nothing. And if you go get a career and you go to college, you get dumbed up because you're only going to get just enough necessary knowledge to do that trade. Nothing more. Knowledge is very, very controlled. And see, the bankers, they have to use their tool that they own to pay people that, what do you think they created Mensa? You think it was an accident in 1949 behind World War II that we gave you the Freemasons, we gave you United Nations, and we gave you Mensa? No. That's the banksters looking for the smartest people to use for their think tanks and telling these people what they want to get done and paying them to think about how you would get it done. And then implementing these programs through your school system, through your media, and through the military industrial complex. Shaping your perceptions. And that's what you think. You believe. What you believe is true and real has been given to you by these banksters. And you're just most of you are so unable to see it. So unable to see what's right in your face. The only way we can stop what's going on is to go after the people who own your tool, the money. You have to remove the people who own the money system worldwide. Worldwide. If you want a money system, it's up to you. The people, us the people. Not up to these few fucking short little bodies that are abusing the system for their own evil agendas and who don't care about you, me, or anybody else because we're just animals. We're just useless eaters and feeders. If you want to have a fair life and have a really good education and you want to have a good life, I mean, period. Everybody that's a human being on the face of this planet, regardless of gender and regardless of race, deserves that. End of story. The only ones that wouldn't deserve that are the people who don't think that everybody deserves that. Then they can look in the mirror because they obviously don't deserve it. See, you gotta lose your mentality of competing against each other that was given to you to mess you up and destroy your life. Just like in the dating scene. Game, usury. You can't just be friends with a female. That's right. And you have to hurry up and jump on it because you don't take the time to get to know one another. But you can't figure out why nothing works out. It's pathetic. It's like somewhere along the way they shut your brain off. And they put a padlock on the lockout box to the power to power up your brains. And they left with the key. That's what it's like. Some of the most insane shit falls out of people's mouths in the manosphere. Their non-experience in real life stands out. It's like a neon sign. It's like a big billboard lit up, just blinking off and on right there before a major interstate, man, that everybody can see for miles. That's how obvious it is, and that's how well it stands out. Now, I don't blame the men in the manosphere because they grew up in a world that lied to them their whole life. And they tried to fit in with everybody else, and they did what everybody else was doing. They got the same programming as everybody else around them. Problem is they didn't get the proper education and are unable to see because they're believing in the Kool-Aid and the lies what's really taking place. And they're lazy because after all it is, I mean, you wouldn't want to look up something to find out you were wrong about what you believe. You might want to fight for your belief. Even if your belief's based all on lies, right? Or would you want to find out what the real truth is and stop phony beliefs that are nonsense? I just don't get why people are so delusional outside of the fact that I swear to God, it's like they've got a lockout box on your brain and they shut the power switch off, shut the door, and put a padlock on it and walked away and took the key with them. And you're unable to get the box open and turn the power back on to your brain. Because it's so in your face. And still so many just don't get it. Unbelievable. But it's true. Right there, what you're looking at in the picture I'm showing you is the root of all evil. It is what's led to everything that's happened to you. It is the reason for our behaviors. It literally is. Because, see, people took that tool and lied to you in return for having that tool. Because they didn't care if they were lying to you as long as they had a good paying job to rise above in the hierarchy. Who cares if I lied to you and you were a little child and you grew up believing my life for 30 years? Who cares if it destroyed your life? That's the mentality right there in your face. I'll tell you who cares. I care. And you should damn well care yourself. Men and women shouldn't be divided and family units shouldn't be broke up, but it is. There shouldn't be a high epidemic of men that can't even get some in their life, but there is. There shouldn't be self-entitlement issues, double standards in the genders, but there is. Divide and conquer, destroy the family unit, destroy the genders, reduce the population, make sure people ain't procreating. Hey, it's happening, it's working. How did they get here? Right there, man. They paid think tanks to think up these programs to socially engineer people through their education system, through their religion, through their music, through their television. They paid these think tanks to think up all these ways to change their perception and keep knowledge from you so that they could move forward with their agenda. They printed money out of debt and never ever printed the interest they were charging you. They told you, literally told you to your face that we, the bankers, Rothschild said this. We, the bankers, own the money, we own the paper, and we own the ink. That's right, that's on that paper. We give our money to nobody. Though, however, we will allow you to borrow some of our money in return for your labor. But we will give you forgiveness for perishables. That'd be your food and water, by the way. But anything else we don't give you forgiveness for, you owe us the interest we charged you on top of the money that we borrowed to you. You owe us that back because we borrowed it to you in return for your labor. You don't get to keep it, you got to pay it back. And we charged interest that we never printed. Now you're saying I'm nuts. No, I'm not nuts. I'm telling you what they've actually done. And they've gotten by with it. That's right, they sure have. If you took all of the money in society right now and turned it back into the banksters, you'd still be in debt. You took every last penny from everybody, all their savings from their house, from their bank, from under the mattress, all of their everything, you gave it back to the bankers. You'd still be way, way in debt because of all the interest they printed that they didn't print. That's right, you know, the money they charged you that they didn't print. So therefore, they get to come in and take things that you might own to pay back the debt you would owe them. Great Ponzi scheme. So now they got their hands on all the electric companies and all the natural gas companies and all of America. Who's that? Oh, the Rothschild dynasty. Oh, now they got their hands on all of the medical system, every single clinic, every single hospital in the entire state or entire country of America. Who's that? Rockefeller. Now they got their hands on your food, your seeds for growing food. We'll just go ahead and freaking modify them, make sure they don't produce seed, make sure the food's no good for you. Exactly what they've done. If you knew as much, I mean, if most of you people understood it to the depth I understand what's going on and what's happened, I don't think most of you could take it. I think you're a little headed pop off. You better have a damn fucking tough skin to be doing what I do. Because it don't affect me in the way you think it does. Because it don't. It don't scare me. No. What are they gonna do? Kill me? So what? So what? Like I'm supposed to be scared of that. That's how we got where we're at. That's exactly how we got where we're at. Because of people being scared of that right there. If we'd have stood up a long time ago, none of this would be going on. You wouldn't have to have TFL now. You know, even Karen Stroud, Girls' Rights What of MRA, openly told you not that many decades ago, 90% of every single man and woman was hooked up. had somebody. That's correct. She said, but it's not that way no more. Now there'll be a significant number. She said, literally said, a significant number that's just not right out, not fuckable. What kind of language was that? What did she say there? And she's portraying herself as an activist for men's rights. And that's your so-called leader, huh? A feminist, male-bashing female, huh? Somebody who's a sound, well, they're not a sound asleep. They're working for the establishment. She's getting what she wants. You know the real reason she's here? Look at the picture. You see what's in that picture? That's the real reason. That's the reason so many people up on YouTube are here to begin with. High Impact Flicks, he's a great example. Alex Jones is another great example. And I can think of quite a few of you that's another great example. And you won't hear this topic talked about amongst all the truthers. No, they're not going to break it down the way I did. Not at all. Oh, and when I said everybody should be, well, allowed to have a good life. Everybody. Don't matter what your gender is. Don't matter what your race is. Oh, a lot of you could be mad at me for that, right? Well, that's because you're holding on to Rothschild and Rockefeller's hands, don't you know? That's the reason you're mad at me, because you don't have the ability to use your brain no more. Yeah, you want to do what? You want to be what, above somebody? Oh, that's right. You wouldn't want everybody to make the same amount of money, even if it was so much money you could never spend it. Even if it guarantees you a very happy life. How dare you pay somebody next to me the same amount? Isn't that right? Because your mentality is to compete, right? Right what they want you to do, man. You can't win. You've already lost. You cannot beat NWO, the Great Reset, at all. You can't. It's impossible. Because the people doing it to you are the ones that own what you're looking at. They're the ones that print it. That's the people doing this to you. Now, do you know why I said you got to take it back? Now, you know why I said worldwide, you got to remove them? You got to take it away from them, or you got to create a new one and walk away from theirs. Well, but then they'll send the military. No, they'll send the order followers, the people that are brain dead, the people that are walking zombies, that don't have what? Critical thinking skills. Don't have what? Care. So yeah, it annoys me because when I look online and I see everything that's going on and I see what's going, and the other thing is, if you're on a high enough consciousness level and you understand what's going on to the depth that I do, you could watch David Icke and catch him in his lie, or Mark Passio, and you can pick up truth that you already knew. And every now and again, they'll throw something at you didn't know. You know how come? Because they're in contact with the establishment, the banksters. What do you think they're getting their information from the tooth fairy? Oh, it just came to me. Yeah, maybe it did through a frequency military grade weapon. Didn't come to anybody else, did it? Just came to them, right? Yeah. Well, hold on, Bill, but the Bible says, but the Quran says, and I'm not going to say that everything in the Bible or Quran's a lie. No way. I'm not an atheist. I just have critical thinking skills and I examine things with a fine tooth comb. And I know what I was taught when I was a kid and I had to go to Sunday school every Sunday and I had to go to church on fucking Wednesday night and church on Sunday night after being in Sunday school in the morning. I know what I was taught. And I know that when I thought about it, hogwash, nonsense, fairy tales. Yeah. See, God created the earth. God created the animals before he did man. God created Adam. Then God took rib from Adam and made Eve so he could have a mate. And now the only people on the planet Earth, the whole planet, was animals and Adam and Eve. Well, Adam and Eve populated the entire planet. Oh, really? What if they were Chinese with little slanted eyes? What if they were black? What if they're white? No, no, fairy tales, you know, that's what it is, man. Nonsense. Hate to say it that way, but I'm just telling you, I'm just a realist, okay? That's all. I'm just a realist. I use logic, common sense, and a way and look at things that, no. Well, somehow, Bill, because he's God, he could, you know, no, no, fairy tales. How do you expect to be told the truth by a book? Where'd the book come from? Oh, well, them are God's words. Really? You just see him print it? Oh, wasn't that human beings you saw printing them books? Yeah, well, yeah, but they were printing God's words. Really? Can you back that up? Can you show us who that is? Can you show us how the words got there? Well, but they were given to blah blah blah. He told them words. Okay, what about the New Testament? Oh, well, they were given to blah blah blah. Okay, yep. And so we're in a war of evil versus good, right? Yeah, we are. Well, that we are. That's for real, right? Not sarcastic now, but we are in a war of evil versus good. But for most of this war, every motel room in the United States, pretty much, they were carrying the good book in there. Well, see, the words can't be changed. Oh, you mean we could kill our own creator's child, but we wouldn't change our creator's words? Nonsense. Bullshit. Excuse my language. Nuh-uh. If we would kill our very creator's own child, why wouldn't we change our creator's words? Of course we would. I mean, I told you, man, we've been lied to our whole lives. On gigantic degrees. They say, no, nobody ever lie that big, Bill. No, actually, the bigger the lie, the more who believe it. Just pay attention to 2020 forward. The bigger the lie, the more who believe it. Have you got your diaper on your face? Oh, but we're opening, Bill. It's getting better. We are? Awesome. So you don't have to put your diaper on the face to keep your job? Well, well, yeah, I still gotta wear it in order to have my job. Okay then. Ta-da! Did it take a rocket scientist to figure that out? It's so in your face. So yeah, I guess it annoys me because I sit back and I look at what's really going on, and I'm so aware of what's going on. And you know, and I have trouble finding friends because I have trouble talking to people who are zombies. I really do. It's not that I won't be polite to the zombie at the grocery store uptown or what have you, but I have trouble having somebody I can actually hang with and communicate with because the majority are zombies. See, the zombie apocalypse is real. They're wearing a diaper on their face. They believe everything that came out their tube, man. They know they got a government and they know they have a right to vote. Yeah, they know all the nonsense. They know all the stage shows. They know their social engineering well. That's what they know well. They don't know anything else well. Okay? Great little order followers, like law enforcement, are like your First Amendment auditors. Yeah, they just, the auditors, I mean, I understand they're trying to hold the police accountable, but they don't understand. See, once again, they don't understand. These cops are not accidentally doing that. They're not accidentally acting that way. They were trained and hired and told to act the way they're acting. And by the way, they're being paid, what you're looking at in the picture, to do exactly that. Where was the prosecutors in the United States of America during 2020? Where was law enforcement in America during 2020? Where was all the detectives in 2020? How come I can go back 31 years and I can concretely back it up, and I call the local cop shop? I already knew my answer though. I called my local cop shop, I called my local sheriff's department, and I got told by the local law enforcement cop shop that, well, we can't do anything about it when I brought up Anthony Fauci. We can't touch him. You better go to the sheriff's department. Sheriff's department says, oh, you have to go to the state crime unit. So I'm looking for the state crime unit, and I find a number in the state of Iowa. And they answer Fusion Center. And I tell them, and they, well, we can't do anything about that. And they say, you better call your local police department. Oh, the merry-go-round, right? So I called the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Guess who answers their phone? Fusion Center. Ah, the merry-go-round of the B10 justice system, who really don't want to solve the case because they know they're lying to you. They know they're going to take all of your rights away from you, all of your freedoms away from you. They know that you're not going to be allowed to own nothing and you'll be happy, right? So for all you people who broke your butt and thought you owned what you bought because you earned your money, no, you didn't. Remember, Rothschild told you that he gives his money to nobody, though he will borrow it to you in return for your labor. And you know what a loan means? It means you owe him that money back. And then, of course, on top of the interest. So why do you think he said that you can own nothing? Because he's a psychopath. They're nut jobs. We sit back and we allowed what? The people who own and print the currency to have the ownership of it worldwide. That's your elite. And they could never be broke. And they could have the best of all riches. And they can own everything because how are you going to get out of it? You thought you owned it, but you joined their system and believed when you worked your butt off the money you were paid that it was now yours, that you earned it. Because you was manipulated into believing you earned it. And it was yours. When in reality, he says, I give my money to nobody. Though however, I will loan you some of my money in return for your labor. I don't know what part of that, and that came right out of Rothschild's mouth, and he was dead damn serious. And then print interest, and then never print the interest, and charge interest on top of it. A Ponzi scam to steal everything away from everybody, including all of your rights, all of your freedoms. So once again, what is real wealth? It sure the hell ain't what you're looking at. It's water, food, and shelter. You know what else is real wealth? When two human beings know how to communicate and get along. That's right. That's wealth. When a man and a woman can communicate and not have to be out for competition against each other, when a man and a woman can have children and not look at each other as lower than one another, or one's the boss or head of the household, because when you say I'm a head of the household and you're a man, you're calling her a slave. And if you say I'm a head of the household and you're a female, you're calling him a slave. And what is your government calling you? Useless cattle. Why? Because they think they're somebody's. But they're nothing puppets. They're puppets that ain't on a string. Because they're so brain warped, they just follow the orders for what? The tool. Governments don't make money. They don't print money. The Federal Reserve in the United States isn't owned by the federal government. What do you have, an hallucination, a mirage, a dream? Do you actually really believe that the Federal Reserve prints our money as part of the federal government? Man, they pulled the blanket over your eyes again, didn't they? Now, if you know who owns the Federal Reserve, don't you? The name is Rothschild. Yep, it's that same family that owns all of the gas companies and electric companies, United States wide. What a quinky dink that is. Oh, and then the Rockefellers, they own all the medical industry in America. And who are they in bed with? Oh, some guy named Bill Gates, who somehow he became a doctor. I guess if you have enough money, you don't go to college and become a doctor, you just have money. And if you have enough of that money from the bankers and you're in bed with the banksters, then you can be a head of the World Health Organization, the WHO. Yeah. And you can be involved in helping to create some liquid you stick in something they stab you with and they inject into your body. Yeah. But don't worry, it's for your own health. If you ever want to go back to the old normal, you just got to do that. And then you'll find out that you can't go back to the old normal. It's not possible because you're not going to be allowed the old normal. Not if they get their way. The only way you're going to get any kind of an old normal back, and I wouldn't even want the old normal back. Why would I want the old normal back? Where nobody knows how to treat each other. Where we're all competing against each other. Where we're wiping our feet on each other's face. Where the divorce rate's through the roof. Where the domestic abuse is through the roof. Where high numbers of men can't get a date in their life because they don't know what they're doing. While high numbers of women also don't know what they're doing, so that's why you got high numbers of men who can't get a date. Because dates based on usury now. That's right. Oh, well, that's right. And some of you guys, you got looks masters. You got to worry about looks, and we know women worry about looks too. Don't ever believe a woman that says she don't use looks, because that's part of the social engineering, and it's done a wonderful job. Why do you think Girls' Rights What Karen Stroud said that in today's society there's going to be just a significant number of men that's just outright not fuckable? Yep, came out of your female men's rights movement leader. Yeah, that was a great thing to say, wasn't it? No, it wasn't. Social engineering 101. Let's keep you in the delusion. Let's give you all the tools that destroy. So what are men and women using in today's society? They're using what they were brought up to believe it is to be in the dating scene, what it is to hook up, to get together. And all their beliefs are based on the lies they were fed, that everybody around them's copying them too. You can't get along. No. I mean, I can remember when they were pushing opposites attract. Oh, opposites attract. So you don't gotta have nothing in common. It's okay, I understand, right? Not. Just like on the dating scene topic when I was doing TFL Saturday Night Live, and people tell me, no, that's not the way it works in today's dating scene, Bill. No, you're out of date. You don't take time to get to know each other, man. You got to be in bed with her by the third date or forget it. It's over. She's moved on. You can't see anything wrong with that, huh? Nope, you sure can't. The majority of you can't see anything wrong with that. That's because you ain't able to process information properly because your brains are warped from all the social engineering line. You haven't the first clue of what you're doing, men and women alike. That's why you have such a miserable life. But see, I told you before, the social engineering in the dating arena, the programming is divided. You got programming that's been given to women and programming for men. And in the women's programming, well, I mean, it's pretty easy with gender roles. Most women don't have to do a damn thing. They just sit on their ass and pick out the guy they want. Now, the hardest thing they struggled with was finding the guy they wanted because they got so picky. But then why wouldn't they? Were told that the man is the provider. And they wanted to make sure the guy made a lot of that stuff in the picture. Of course, that's not 100% across the board. That's not all women. But then, we've been told for years that men cheat on women. I wonder how the men for years in the manosphere was cheating on a woman when they couldn't even get a woman. I'm sorry, I just couldn't help but throw that out there. Don't you understand both genders are cheating on both genders because we over-sexualize society? Why did we do that? To destroy. Just like in MGTOW, where we got pump and dump. Wow, really? More usury. Huh, we wonder why we're not standing together, huh? You wonder what happened? Well, now social engineering, many years of it, destroyed you, completely destroyed you. And you know how it got here? By the stuff you're looking at. See, they're leading you to your own death, and you're paying them back their tool for your own death, for your own demise. Just think when they tell you you're going cashless, then they're really going to have you locked down. Oh, yeah. You'll really be under their control then, won't you? Through a handful of people. So you mean it's easier to have all this tyranny going on and keep killing each other and stepping on each other's face than to do the right thing, huh? So you really truly don't care about your children's future, do you, ladies? Do you, fathers? You really truly don't give a shit about your kids' future. Because at this particular time, they have no future. No, their future's going out the door because their parents failed to grow up and wouldn't stand up and defend their children. Because it had a label to a name, it was a politician. It had a uniform on and was a perfect little order follower with a gun on his hip and a badge on his shirt. You were scared to fight back. You were scared you might get in trouble. It's going to be so easy to kill people off because they're so unaware, not aware, unaware of the real truth. See, so when will people become tough enough skinned to be like myself and not care if they die? Why would you care? Because, see, you're going to die if you do nothing. What's your chances of living by following the orders? Not very good. Now, because they got a big number in mind for population reduction, and they're dead serious. They're not lying about it. They're dead serious. They wasn't joking you. History didn't replay itself over and over because they were joking. See, the joke's on you when you think that they're joking you. The joke's on you when you call me names and tell me I'm a conspiracy theorist or you look for any fault that you might think you found in me where you're full of fault yourself. But what you are doing is walking hand in hand with the banker because you're keeping divided, which means you'll never stand together, which means you can't win anyhow. And for all these people up here, W7, High Impact Flex, Tattoo, yep, Jason Goodman, Only Demigod, Monty Graff, yep. And for all of you people that you think you have to have the tool, it's because you've already lost. Because who owns the tool? The bankers. Why is it that we have a hierarchy and we give people different amounts of the tool and we make people struggle from payday to payday and live in a cardboard box just to be alive? And we allow other people to have tons of it and have a beautiful life. And we hold others down. Well, because we love being above one another, right? We love to step on each other's face, right? We have no real care, right? That's why. When you get real care and you understand what's right and what's wrong, and you grow some gonads and some clits and become brave and start fighting back, then you can stop what's going on. You know, we could stop it overnight if we all just stood down. That ain't gonna happen, right, guys? Too many of you won't take the mask off. You keep that diaper right on your face, won't you? You sure will. Too many of you will follow your orders, and you might be wearing a badge for a living. But you wouldn't want to lose your income, right? You might be wearing an RN suit for a living. You might be an LPN for a living. You might be a doctor for a living. Oh my God, I wouldn't want to lose my career, so I need to do what they told me. So now you're Nazis. Welcome. If you want to go into a Nazi center, all you got to do is stop by any local clinic or hospital. And you can look at all the Nazis running the place. Yeah, that's how the Nazis got their name. From following the orders and doing evil unto people. And when you look at your local police department, you look at your sheriff's department, you look at your highway patrol, and you look at your justice system and your courts, and you look at the fact that nobody's done nothing. I'm not even a licensed private investigator, and I can pull factual evidence of 31 years back to back up what I'm saying. And there ain't no court in the world that would be able to look at that and deny it. But if you mention Bill Gates or Anthony Fauci or anybody like that to any local law enforcement or district attorney's office anywhere, they all immediately cower. They all immediately cower. You see the yellow streak go from the behind all the way up their back. And they confirm that your justice system is corrupt. Well, of course it is. Have you ever studied how it is to become a cop? Do you know what they've done with law enforcement over the years? You can't know the Constitution or recognize right from wrong and be hired to be a cop in today's society. It's been that way for a long time. You're not going to be a deputy. You're not going to be a sheriff. You're not going to be, you're not going to be allowed to work for the sheriff's department or police department or highway patrol. If you recognize human rights and you recognize the Constitution and you're willing to do what's right upon the people. They can't have you do that because they couldn't collect revenue from you. They couldn't lock you up and make free labor off you. You might have smoked a joint. That's right. You might have had an ounce of something you smoked for yourself and went to prison for a bunch of years. What was your crime? You didn't commit one. You didn't hurt nobody. You know who committed the crime? The order follower with the badge. Well, that's against the law. What is the law? Oh, that's right. It's another man-made construct. Well, but we live in the land of the free. No, you're still asleep. Hold on, let me pinch you. I doubt I'll ever be able to wake you up. So I really don't know what to tell anybody, but I wanted to jump up here for a little while, and I'm going to get out of here now. I've been running my mouth for a little over an hour, so. But I wanted to jump up here for a little bit and have this little rant with you about this very topic, because this very topic right here, money is the root of all evil. Money is the reason where we're at in today's society. It is the financer of everything that's ever happened, every single war, every single blackout, psyop program that's ever came into society. All of the education system and programming that's went into making people's brains into mush. And these people willingly taught you lies and lied to you and kept knowledge from you for a living. There you go. Because of what? Your so-called elite, the Illuminati. Yeah, who's the Illuminati? The Rothschilds. It is the bankers, has been the bankers, always will be the bankers, and this is the reason we're in the trouble we're in. There's absolutely no excuse whatsoever to have homeless people or people kicked out because they couldn't afford the rent. They were holding a full-time job and they didn't make enough money to pay their rent or their utilities. Or they went hungry because they couldn't buy food. But they were working 8, 10-hour shifts, 12-hour shifts, 16-hour days, and just barely going paycheck to paycheck. There's no excuse for that. No excuse at all. Outside of selfishness, evil, and greed. Absolutely no excuse for it. And with that, I hope people understood what I've said, because I didn't lie to you a bit here. And if you aren't able to see it, there ain't nothing I can do for you. With that, I'm out of here. So you all have a good one.